If I had to take a guess, I'd say that most who live in Havelock North are happy with their lot. And why wouldn't they be? It's a place that gets a fair dollop of sunshine, and we can all do with lots of that. But there is one thing perhaps a little odd. The fact that with a population of 11,000, Havelock North is still referred to as the village. But still, a nice place to take a break, to meet with friends and have a chat, or maybe do those things you've never got around to doing, like taking in an exhibition showing local art. This one held every year, displaying work which brings forth a good range of responses, tempered with a soothing, smoothing red, or something tempting to the taste. Another Havelock North attraction is its model railway, and it's lots of fun, not just for the kids, but for all the family too. And there's history waiting to be seen. Houses from the grand old days, elegant and rated highly on the list of things to see. But one attraction often heads the list. A chance to marvel at the colour, form and poise of foliage and flower. Keirunga Gardens. The area known as Keirunga Gardens occupies some 17 hectares of land, set right in amongst suburbia. Today it's owned by the people of Havelock North and cared for by the Hastings District Council, whose staff tend the gardens, keeping them beautifully maintained. Some of the buildings at Keirunga have been restored. This, the original homestead, and behind, newer buildings forming part of the premises of the Keirunga Gardens Arts and Crafts Society, collectively known, quite understandably, as Keirunga the Creative Hub, where creative output can be realised in so many different ways. The gardens also offer challenges to those whose interest lies in creating images, sculpted through the use of light, of shadow, depth and focus. Yet discoveries can still be made for those who have a nose for it, perhaps to sniff out details of the paintbrush tree trunks and the artist's palette on a stump, portraying visions of artistic flair. And children can be kept busy too, working out on swings and slides, although there is one other thing they like, something much more thrilling. The Keirunga Park Railway arose from the efforts of a group of model engineering enthusiasts who realised that a ground-level multi-gauge track in Hawke's Bay would be quite an asset. Various sites were considered, and eventually the club was given permission to use parkland adjacent to Keirunga Gardens. The railway opened on April the 18th, 1992. But this may not have happened at all had George Nelson, the owner of Keirunga, not gifted the land to the people of Havelock North through the Havelock North Borough Council, as he did in 1964. Keirunga, which means the place on high, was built in 1906 by Robert Holt. All the timber, hart kauri and totra, and other building materials being dragged up a track by bullock dray. That track is today Joel Road, one of several that meet in the village. In 1919, the first occupants, Mr. and Mrs. Reginald Gardner, sold the house to Charles Ord Tanner, and he renamed it Keirunga. In 1928, it was bought by George Nelson, who lived there until his death in 1964. George Nelson was a man of immense achievement, and it was he who supervised the development of Keirunga Parkland and Gardens. Drainage work, path formations and rock work, plus the planting of a huge variety of plants and shrubs, took place during Mr. Nelson's ownership. So today, we enjoy the fruits of his labour. One of the fun things at Keirunga is, of course, the railway. Easter and Labour Weekend are the busiest times when model railway engineers descend from other clubs to engage in railway engineering excitement. It's a favourite with children too, and they certainly know where they want Mum and Dad to take them.
That's it, thank you.
The railway at Keirunga is designed to provide enjoyment for visitors, and it certainly does that. It's also fashioned to suit enthusiasts, with a single line crossing 4 viaducts. Amongst them, this large curved wooden trestle, and a couple of concrete viaducts. It's got tunnels, of course, and kids love them, judging by the shrieks of delight. Facilities are top-notch, and one critical piece of equipment is this hoist. Without it, lifting these locomotives to track level would be, well, pretty difficult. Some are very heavy. And up at track level, there's another piece of equipment which certainly makes turning engines easy.
Well, if we don't go upside down, we'll be fine. You'll be right, yeah, that's the main thing.
One of the features that please enthusiasts are the steaming bays, where they can prepare locomotives before putting them to work. Beyond the railway setting is Arthur's Path, bounded on one side by Havelock North Cemetery and by the railway and gardens on the other. It's a delightful place, particularly in mid-autumn. The Keirunga Gardens Arts and Crafts Society, initially incorporated in 1967, owes its existence to two people in particular, George Nelson and Frank Bacon. For 2 years from the time George Nelson generously gifted Keirunga to the Havelock North Borough Council, it lay unused. But an enthusiastic group led by Frank Bacon approached the council in 1966 to see if Keirunga could be developed as a cultural centre. Agreement was reached, and over some 20 years the restoration of the homestead and the establishment of the cultural centre complex with new workshops and studios have provided excellent working facilities for members of the society. One important feature of the Keirunga Gardens Arts and Crafts Society is its annual art exhibition. On this occasion, work was chosen by an invited selector. The subject set to challenge perception, imagination, skill and dedication. No wonder then that today the Society and its facilities is known as Keirunga, the Creative Hub. Up at the railway, there's a lot of pride too, and interest in the wide range of locomotives, some of which have been brought quite some distance to take part in these Easter activities. Lyle Davies has come up from Levin for this Easter get-together, and this is his engine. Built by Paul Newton, it's a K37, a replica of a narrow-gauge steam locomotive which still operates today in the United States. It weighs 3/4 of a tonne, and it takes 45 litres of water in the boiler and 60 litres in the tender. Keirunga Gardens is at the one time peacefulness and beauty, relaxation and quiet reflection. A place for family picnics, where kids can meet the challenges of swings and slides, and the family dog can do its thing, or one can try a tasteful treat or two, and be impressed by nature's colour and its shapes. And one can see creation, coordinating mind and eye and hand. This then is Keirunga Gardens, where up here on the grassy banks one finds thoughtful gifts for public use, garden seating paid for by families to memorialise an occasion, or perhaps remember, where in years gone by a young lad may well have spent exciting times looking at the trains.